So I am 56 hours into this week's fast. And at this stage, something powerful starts to happen. The fast stops being just a physical challenge and it starts becoming a mental mirror. If you've ever wondered what happens when food is no longer there to distract, when it's no longer there to numb, or it's no longer there to soothe, you're about to find out. Tonight, we're going beyond hunger. We're diving into clarity, emotional detox, and rewiring the way we think, how we cope, and how we live. Hey, if you're new to me, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. We are creating the life we've always wanted, and we are living limitless lives. So we're not allowing anything to prevent us from doing what we need to do. Nothing from outside of us or nothing from inside is going to stop us from being in the space of putting ourselves to be successful. We're showing up with our best health, our best selves, and our best plans. And that's what we're doing tonight as we dive into this segment of our check-in. If you're new to me, go ahead and put new in the comments because I'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music. And let you know that we are glad that you're here. If you have comments, go ahead and put those in the chat with a Q in front of those so that we know that that is something that we need to pay particular attention to as we want to answer those questions for you as we move throughout our episode. If you have been with us, you know how we do. I've got my monitors that we'll take a look at here in just a minute. I've got my Contour, and over here I've got my Keto Mojo, and of course right below me that is my Dexcom Clarity Report, which we'll take a look at to see what's been going on with my blood sugars. Yeah. We'll take a look at all of those. Also, if you've been with us, if you've been following, if you've been on this trek with us as we are talking about improving our metabolism, you know that we have had several tools, several series that we've been working through, and the one that we're currently in is a powerful and amazing tool that helps us to walk through the process of building energy, walks through the process of building strength and toning our bodies, and it's called Strength, Strategy, and Mindset. Strength, Strategy, and Mindset. And so we, in the morning at 6 o'clock, we're out there working. Let me go ahead and pull that up so you can see what's been going on. So we're doing some stretching. We've got some dumbbells that we're working with, curl and presses. We're on the bench and we're doing we are doing some dumbbell presses. Right. So that's where we are right here. There we go. And we are working on. Here's some lateral lifts that we're doing. So we are in the process of taking care of our body in all the different areas, whether we're talking about fasting, whether we're talking about eating, whether we're talking about our strengthening of our bodies. There is something out there for you, and I want to make sure that you are taking advantage of all of the tools that are available. If you're not been in our community, you want to make sure that you become part of the community. Actually, tonight we had our community check-in, or not check-in, but our meetup, where we spent some time talking to community members, seeing what the wins they had, and just doing some loving on each other as we come to support each other as we're moving through this metabolic space. Okay, so all those things are available for you out there. So make sure that you are joining us in all of those spaces, because you want to make sure that you have all the things that are needed to set yourself up for the best possibility of success. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at blood sugars, and we'll start by taking a look at my Freestyle Libre. And this is the Freestyle Libre right here. And you'll see that my blood sugar is 82 right now. Looking further down, you'll see the graph, and we're looking at this graph. You'll see that for most of the day, I should say most of the day, starting maybe about 12:30-ish, 12:30 to 1 o'clock, we were below 100, and starting the earlier part of the day into about that time, we were right at or right above 100. We did not see it dip below 70 here. We'll go back and we'll take a look at what the Dexcom is showing. And here we are, 91 is what the blood sugar is. Once again, looking at the number right now, that's where we are. And then, of course, coming down, that's what my blood sugars have been doing. And I'm going to put my finger and just kind of run through so you can see what those numbers have been. And you'll see there, so we were in the upper 100s, low 90s, low 100s, and kind of dipped down right around 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And then here comes right about 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. Here comes that's what I'm calling the toothpaste effect. And take a look at that. So we went from 99, well, a little lower than that actually. We went from 99.78 and spiked up all the way up to the 20s, right? So 28, I think, was the highest that we got. And then, of course, started coming back down as we went through the rest of the day. And so, I tell people, if you have a toothpaste that I can try that doesn't cause that spike, go ahead and send that recommendation. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to take a look at, so that's what my monitors are showing, the Dexcom and the Libre. But let's go ahead and take a look at what my actual finger sticks are. And here I have a Keto Mojo and I have a contour meter. And let's go ahead and grab my handy dandy container. And I need a blue one and a brown one. So the brown is blood sugar, the blue is ketones. I need a couple of lancets, which we'll pull out. And then I also need a strip for the contour. So let's go ahead and get that out. And then get that started here. Here we go. Actually, no, wrong one. Let's just go ahead and get it in here. And I'll keep those lancets there. And I tend not to like these ones that you have to rip open like this. But it is what we've got. So product improvement or feature improvement, I don't know what you want to call it. Get rid of these and just put them in a box like the other things. And let's go ahead and open this. And I'm going to keep this off to the side. Of course, this is the one that always gives me the trouble. But okay, I got it. See, there it is. And I'm going to grab a lancet. And find a finger, and this one is the one that I've been using, so let's go ahead and do that. Boom, boom, boom. That hurt, so I should get a good, there we go, a good brisk drop. Let's start with this one. And as I'm doing this, go ahead, if you're out there, what do you think my ketones are going to be? So now we're at 56 hours, and you'll see there my Dexcom says that my blood sugar is 91. The Keto Mojo says 79, and it says 80. So pretty close to each other. And let's go ahead and get this one out and put the ketone strip in. And let's make sure we still have a good drop of blood to get that started. So what do you think my ketones are going to be? And boom, there we go. Okay, so get that one started as well. And we'll see. And I think I see someone guessing there 1.2 and 0.5. 0.5 is what it is. So when we talk about ketones, remember ketones that are less than 0.5 considered normal, 0.5 to 1.5 considered nutritional ketosis, and above that considered therapeutic ketosis. So right now I'm in the therapeutic range for my ketones. I have to think that that some of what happens with that spike that we see in the morning, and I think we did that a couple of times last year, where I changed the toothpaste to something that did not have carbs in it to see what that does. But I have a pretty pronounced response to the toothpaste that, as you saw there, jumping up from in the 70s to in the mid to upper 120s. Okay, all right. So once again, so ketones are important because they are an indication of what's going on in the body in terms of the shift from burning carbs to burning fat, right? So ketones of 0.5, and we want them to be 0.5 or higher. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at take a look at blood sugars. And as we look at that, we're going to look at my Dexcom Clarity report. And here you'll see that my average blood sugar is 121. This is the last 14 days, right? So this is a 14-day overview. And so right now we are 121. My glucose management indicator is 6.2. And 6.2 meaning that if I were to get an A1C, this is what I would approximate it. This is what I would expect the ketones to be. Not ketone, but I expect the glucose management indicator to be. Here is, I'm in range 100% of the time, with the target range right now being between 70 to 180. But as you know, I usually tell patients that I want their blood sugars, and let me draw this over here, I want their average blood sugar to be between 100 and 120. So we're at 121, which is pretty close to 120. So I think we're good there. If I look at the 90-day average and 90-day reports, you see that my blood sugar, my average is 115 with a glucose management indicator of 6.1. And so my blood sugar over the last several weeks, the blood sugar over the last several weeks, the last 2 weeks, has been higher than the average over the last 90 days, which actually is a good thing, because that means that over 90 days I was doing better. And then I am in range 98% of the time, which is the number you see there. And the range is, once again, 70 to 180. Looking at my daily graphs, and this shows me where we are. So right now, this is where my blood sugar is. You'll see here for most of the day that we were in the 90s, kind of hovering right about 100. And let's go back here. So right around, and yeah, about 1 o'clock was when it dropped. But prior to that, we were hanging in the 1-teens to 120s. Here we were last night in the low 100s, low 1-teens, dipped down right to 72, and then here comes toothpaste right there, and so that spiked up, got up as high as 128 right there, okay, and kind of hung in the 120s, 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 and then finally right around 12:30, 1 o'clock started going back down. So if I take this, and so here we were at 24 hours, right about here. And if I scroll backwards, now, sorry, that was at 48 hours. And if I scroll backwards, so here we are at 24 hours, and scrolling even further backwards to where we started the fast. So we started the fast right about here. 119 was the blood sugar. And let's go forward. So you saw what I ate when I started the fast, or the last meal prior to the fast. And let's take a look at what happened to blood sugars moving forward. So I'm eating right here, and then we're looking at blood sugars, and notice blood sugars, we went from the 119 up to 130, 134, 137. I think the highest we got up here was maybe 150, if I remember correctly. Actually, no, this was 1-teens. Okay, so that was the rest of that day. Now coming into the next day, we were 100s, 1-teens once again. And right here is the toothpaste effect. And we got up to about 138, I think. Yeah, 138 was the highest. And then started dropping again and stayed in the low 100s, 90s to 100s, even going down to 80s a couple of times. Okay, and then going further into the next day, once again in the 90s, low 100s, dropping down again to the 70s, and then boom, at around 6:30, we see that blood sugar starts going up. That's when I'm brushing my teeth. Gets up to what, 128, I think was the highest, and then started dropping again. Okay, to where we are right now. So that is a look at my blood sugar starting from right before the fast, before I started the fast, the last meal that I ate, and moving forward over the last 56 hours now into where we are right now. And so you notice that those blood sugars, and I want to impress on you how important it is that last meal help to maintain stable blood sugars so that you don't have a lot of spikes as you're moving into the fast. Okay? All right. And now let's go ahead and let's go over and say hello to some of our community members, because I see some of you out there. And let me say, whatever platform you're joining us from, whether it's LinkedIn or Twitch or Facebook or here on YouTube, I welcome you to our live tonight as we do our check-in and as we improve our metabolic health. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're talking about. So let's see, community members. And I do see Gian out there, and she says, hi again. Hi, doctor, again. And she says, hi, LLG. Happy to see you again. And as I mentioned earlier, we had our community meetup, and Gian is part of our community. And so you see her, let's see, where are we? Yeah, you'll see her there saying, good seeing you again. And if you're on YouTube and you look, you'll see the little blue star next to her name. That means that she is one of our community members. And then Gian says she was guessing 1.2. Steve says, hello, Gian. And he says that I'm at 2.5. So actually, you guys are not seeing those as I change them. Let's go back and do here. All right, so 1.2 was Gian's guess. Steve saying hello, saying that I am at 2.5. Gian says hi, Steve, and he says that his GKI was 2.9. So GKI, glucose management glucoketo index. So I'm thinking about the Dexcom is a ratio of your glucose to ketones, and we want that to be as low as possible. And if you didn't see that, go back yesterday when we did our check-in as we walk through what that means. Okay? All right. The next thing I want to do is let me go over and I want to do a check-in. And I love doing the check-ins because the places where we're checking in are some of the most powerful parts of our domains of health. Remember, we walked through that series, the 8 domains of health, and it is probably the place where people have their most challenge when it comes to fasting. So physically, mentally, and emotionally. So let's walk through that now. So physically, let me talk about what often people are saying and what they're sometimes feeling. Is they're feeling tired, they're feeling sluggish, they're feeling as though their energy is down, they're hitting a wall. Those are all phrases that people will use when it comes to physical. Also, the other thing is lightheaded, dizzy, sweaty, feeling like as though they're faint. That combination of symptoms that sometimes we feel may have a direct reflection on how well rested we are or how hydrated we are. So those are some direct correlations between hydration and rest. Right now, I am feeling a bit tired, right? So I'm not feeling as though my energy is gone or as I'm going through a wall, but I'm feeling tired because the last couple of nights, I was up doing the strength, strategy, and mindset, right? So we're shaping that series, and last week we were a bit off of our schedule because, as you mentioned, you remember we had some conferences, and so doing those, I was staying up late, and so the last couple of nights I actually stayed up late so I can get those out, and so I can tell as I got to the end of today that I was more tired than normal. So I am feeling that. I'm not feeling lightheaded, sweaty, dizzy, palpitations. One thing that actually I did feel earlier, which did not go anywhere, it did not get worse. It actually was just for a brief, maybe 5-10 minutes. I was in my wife's office and we were talking, and I seemed to have a headache that was developing, but it never went anywhere. I think now whenever I'm feeling that, it occurs to me that, hey, maybe you're not drinking enough. And so as we were talking, I went and got something to drink, and that kind of eased that part of it. So those symptoms that sometimes we will feel has to do with not necessarily, quote unquote, the fast per se, but the things that we're doing as it relates to the fast. Tomorrow we'll do a complete check-in where we talk about how to get into a fast, how to prepare for the fast, how to get through the fast, and then, of course, how to break the fast. So that's physically. The mental part of us, our mental being, the things that go on in terms of our thoughts, have a direct correlation to how we feel physically. Because right now, I'm physically tired. I can feel that. And although I'm still able to process and function and feel as though I am thinking clearly, I could probably tell a little bit, right, that okay, I'm a little not as quick, if you will, if that makes sense. But that has a direct relationship to the mental. And so people will say, oh, I feel a little foggy headed. I feel as though I'm walking through a tunnel and my calculations are not as quick. I can tell. Let me just say it that way. And then, of course, emotionally, this last several weeks for me has been amazing. I'm just going to say that word. So last week we had some conferences. This week, we're back on in our game, and we're back on schedule, and we're in the fast, and that's going well, and weight is improving, and blood sugars continue to be good. We had our community meetup tonight. So for the last several weeks, even though I've been busy, emotionally feeling pretty good. The summer's here. We've got some things that we're going to be doing with the family, and just having a good time. So physically, mentally, and emotionally, those are the three areas that we tend to talk about when it comes to fasting. And they are, once again, 3 of the 8 areas of our domains of health. So if you didn't see that series, make sure you go back and watch that series. It's an amazing concept, because we sometimes think only of the medical part of our health, but all of the different areas impact the medical part. And so we want to make sure that we are well-rounded. We talked about the limitless living inventory. So make sure you get back there and begin looking at that and begin watching it. Okay? Awesome. So let's go ahead and, let me say hi to, I do see another one of our community members just hopped in. And so we're going to say hello to her. And then we're going to get into our discussion. So Cornelia just wanted to say hi. She said, hey, Dr. Gian, Steve, LLG family. Hi again, sis, from Gian. And then Cornelia saying hello. So we were talking in the community meetup tonight that we've called ourselves several things over the course of time, and I think the one that's sticking the most is the LLG, right? Limitless Living Gang. So everybody just says LLG, LLG, LLG. So I love it. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and let's get into our discussion for this evening. Let's do that right now. So at 56 hours, my insulin is down, my ketones are up, my inflammation is falling, but there's another shift that's happening. One that's harder to see, but even more important and probably more profound. The brain is rebooting. Your emotions are surfacing, and you're learning things about yourself. I'm learning things about myself that can't be accessed when food was always in the way. I want to make that point. So in this segment, what we're going to explore is what emotional detox really looks like, how fasting sharpens our mental clarity, and why this is one of the most transformative parts of health and the journey that we're on. This isn't just physiology, it's identity. And you've heard me say that before. So we've been walking through this process. We've been walking through this idea of metabolic regulation. Dysfunction of metabolism is at the key. It is at the heart of all the things that we do. If we're in that first 24 hours, that's all about physical hunger, right? So as we go from eating to the postprandial period to the early fasting phase to ketosis to so beta oxidation and all those things, right? So those first 24 hours, it's about physical hunger. By 48 hours, it's metabolic because we're seeing those shifts. But at 56 hours, it gets mental, it gets emotional, it becomes spiritual. And it is now that we're in deep waters of fasting. This is where the truth starts to surface. And so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what fasting reveals about you when food is no longer an option for comfort. What mental clarity emerges from metabolic silence, and why emotional detox is not just real, it's rewiring of the brain. This isn't just about weight loss. This is about identity recovery. So take a breath. Take a deep breath. You've come far. Let's go a little deeper. Let's go a little deeper into you. So let's talk, first of all, why fasting brings up so much emotion, right? So let's start with something we don't talk about often. Food is emotional regulation. It's a self-soothing mechanism, a social crutch, if we want to use that word, and it's a chemical trigger all rolled into one. When you take food off the table, literally, you put the plug on a lifetime of conditioned responses. Because that's what we've been doing. We've taught ourselves, we've been taught, we've been conditioned to respond in certain ways. And now, at 56 hours, the body is past that struggle. But the mind is in the ring. Right? The body's moved because we have made the shift. We are now in ketosis. We're burning calories from fat. We're converting those triglycerides into glycerol and free fatty acids. The free fatty acids go off to do what they need to do, and the glycerol is being turned into sugar. But why is the mind fighting? Why is the mind in the ring? Why is the mind being developed? Because you're no longer suppressing the emotions with snacks. You're no longer soothing with sugar. You're left with just you. And guess what raises up? Oh yeah, all those things that we talk about. So anxiety, restlessness, shame, regret, doubt. Sometimes peace comes, but only after the storm. So here's what science tells us. Fasting reduces dopamine from external triggers like food and reveals your baseline emotional state. So when fasting is there, the amount of dopamine that you're getting from everything else goes down. It's the same reason people in dopamine detoxes report emotional overload. Because the brain has been numbed. You're not numbing anymore at this point. You are seeing what is there when nothing else is there. When the food goes, this is what's left. You're basically awakening. You're awakening to the truth of who you are and how you respond to the world around you. The hunger beneath the hunger is what we're looking for. We're hungry, but if we go deeper, there is something else happening. I spent some time, actually this week was it was an interesting week in the office. So I spent a lot of time this week talking to people about the deeper things that go along with their food. Because often our concept of food is very surface. And when I say food, I'm not talking about, oh, I have food because I need it because of nutrition. I'm talking about that other part of food. The thing that happens when you're up late at night. I have several people this week said, hey, I don't know what's going on, but I my most ravenous time is at night. And so in their mind, they're eating at that time because they just like the thing they're eating, whether it's popcorn or candies or cookies or cakes or even pasta or rice or whatever it is. They're like, well, I just like it. But there's a hunger that actually is beneath that hunger. And so let's ask the real question. And here's the real question. What are you hungry for? Really? At 56 hours, the ghrelin waves have leveled off. So remember, ghrelin is that hunger hormone. When ghrelin is high, we feel hungry. But now that insulin is going down, the blood sugars are going down, we've switched over to burning ketones, then ghrelin begins to be suppressed. And that's going down. Your insulin is low, so it's not stimulating the appetite. Ketones are going up, and they are helping to suppress the idea that I need to eat food. So everything in the body now is in the space of helping you decide that you don't have to eat. So the physical part of hunger, not there. Your body is shifted from craving food to running efficiently without it. Ketones are there. So why does it still feel hard? Why am I still craving? And it is because this isn't about your body anymore. It's about this thing up here. It's about the coping. It's about the way that we deal with issues. It's about the way that we think. It's about the way that we cope, right? Remember the COPE model, COPE, clarify, observe, pause, and execute. Some people during this time realize that they have been eating to delay hard conversations. They snack to avoid sitting still. They binge when they feel unseen or overwhelmed. And so fasting reveals not just patterns of behavior, but patterns of escape. Not just how I behave, but what are the reasons behind why I'm doing what I'm doing. And so let's take a look. Let's pull back the curtains a little bit. Studies have shown that fasting activates a default mode network, or DMN, the brain's self-reflecting circuit. This is why thoughts and memories intensify. The fast is now a mirror of what's going on, not a mirror of your weight, not a mirror of your blood sugar, not a mirror of your diabetes, not a mirror of your hypertension, but it's a mirror of your needs. And for many of us, and for many of those needs, we've never gone in. We've never investigated. We've never pulled the curtains back. We've never opened the box. And for a lot of those needs, it was never meant to be fed by food. I tell the story of, and we have lots of patients who come and share their stories with us and tell us about the things that seem to trigger food, but they never even realize that. And so sometimes in the office, we are uncovering these ideas. The patients, the clients who grew up in a different household, maybe mom or dad, for some reason, had them grow up with an aunt, uncle, cousin, grandparents, their family, and put it into a different family. Dad goes away. Uncle, who they used to live with, goes away. And they travel. They're a traveling salesman. They're a preacher, there are somebody who travels, and every time they come back home, they bring a gift. And the young child, the young girl, the young boy is at home, and whenever the person who means the most to them comes home, they bring a gift. And what's the gift that they bring? They bring some chocolate. They bring some candy. Maybe they bring a particular type of muffin. Maybe they bring a bagel. And so that child now grows up associating that food with belonging, with love, with connection. And so now they are 70 years old and they are still experiencing the things that were happening when they were 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. And if we're not careful, we never make the connection. And you think you just love blueberry muffins. You just love Cadbury chocolates. You just love that type of candy. Not realizing but that candy, that cookie, that muffin, that whatever it is associated with something that is being done in you, in your body. And when we're fasting, there's no feeding of those things with food because it's not there. Certainly at 56 hours. So where do we start to build resilience? Where do we start now to say, okay, we are understanding what's going on in our body and we're going to utilize this. So at this stage, you gain something that you didn't have before, 56 hours. The gap between stimulus and response. So instead of automatically grabbing food, which is not there, we're watching for cravings. We're witnessing emotions. So I tell people all the time, I don't want you to fight food. Because to be honest, you don't have the strength. You don't have the power. You don't have the ability to overcome food. Particularly when that food is connected to something as strong as the emotion of safety and community and connection and love. Breaking that connection doesn't happen overnight. So when we're looking at food, we're not grabbing at it anymore because it's not there. And now what we're seeing is we are looking at naming what that inner narrative is that we're telling ourselves. So here's a three-step process I want you to go through. And it comes directly out of the COPE model. Remember, the COPE model is clarify, observe, pause, and execute. Number one, name the emotion. Something is going to happen. And normally we reach for food. But food is not there. And so what are we doing? We know it's not hunger. We've already clarified that it's not hunger. Because we've just said that all of the mechanisms that's in your body now at 56 hours, all of them are in the process of supporting you not being hungry. Insulin is down, so the appetite is not stimulated. Ghrelin is down, so it's not saying go eat. Ketones are up, so they're slowing the GI tract and suppressing appetite. All of the things in your body have now come over to your side, and they're saying you're not hungry. So we've clarified that. We know that. And so what is it I'm feeling? And say that. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling whatever the feeling is, but I know it's not hunger. Number one, name it. Number two, what was the trigger? This is a question you're asking. What thought, what memory, what event just passed by me? Just came through my mind that caused this to happen? What triggered it? Remember, we are triggered. We're triggered to eat by habits, emotions, access just the things around us, our environment, and we're triggered to eat by taste. So what was it that triggered you? Was it the conversation you just had with your spouse? Was it the fact that your boss just told you that a project that you had spent all this time on was not what he was expecting and you got to do it over? Was it the fact that you didn't get a good grade on an exam, or you didn't get the degree you thought, or the amount of money you thought you were saving didn't pan out, or that investment didn't go the way it was supposed to? What was it that triggered you in that moment? And then we want to hold space. This is an important one. If we think back to the COPE model, clarify, observe, pause. The pause has to do with holding space. And in our case, not judging, just noticing. Not saying, oh, you're bad for feeling that way, because we do that. Like, man, I should not feel upset because they said that. Or, man, it was just, we try to minimize, we try to judge ourselves because we feel something. We're not judging, we're just holding space. What am I feeling? We're not doing anything with it. We just are observing it. We are an outside observer, and we're looking at that thing. What's going on there? Just notice it. Hold space for yourself. Just like if you had a friend who came to you and they were telling you a story, they were telling you something that was going on, something that they're experiencing, telling you some difficulty that they have. You're not jumping in and judging them, right? You're simply there as a sounding board. You're simply there as someone they can tell their story to get it off of their chest, get it out of them without you judging what they're saying. So hold space. This is something called neuroplasticity in action. This is where connections are made. By not reacting, you're actually strengthening the thinking part of the brain. When we talked about the prefrontal cortex, which is the thinking part, we talked about the limbic system, which is that part of our brain that is the basal survival part of the brain. When we hold space, we're strengthening the prefrontal cortex, the thinking part, the part of the brain that's responsible for focus, for long-term planning, and for emotional regulation. You are literally rewiring how your brain handles stress and how it handles urges. This is not willpower. This is not willpower. Remember, we are not expecting willpower to help us. This is neural remodeling. This is identity reinstallation. This is gutting the house and saying, okay, now let's go back in and let's start putting the stuff in. So let's talk a little bit about detox, but not the way that the supplement industry does it. So real detox is not a juice. It's the emotions that rise up when the crutches fall. At 56 hours, autophagy is in full swing. The cortisol level is leveling off. The gut is repairing from inflammatory triggers. My body is healing because my fat cells are decreasing and ketones are coming out and beta hydroxybutyrate is fueling the mind. And because I'm fasting, my growth hormone is high, so my muscles are being built and being conserved and they're being repaired. Brain-derived natriuretic factor is high, which is miracle growth for the brain, for the mind. And just like your body is cleaning out cellular junk, your mind is cleaning out emotional junk. What kind of junk? Shame, for one, from poor eating habits. Because now, okay, I'm fasting. I'm doing something for myself. I am making a decision that I'm going to abstain from those calories so that my body can heal. Fear is falling again. And let's do something here really quickly. All right, so fear is falling again. The stress you've been carrying but never processed is being managed. You may cry during a fast. You may journal like your pen is on fire. You may remember things you didn't expect. This is not a breakdown. This is a breakthrough. This is a breakthrough. So fasting increases brain-derived natriuretic factor. This improves memory, improves mood, and emotional balance. You're literally lighting up your brain and improving its ability to grow through what you go through. And give me a second, let me make one change here really quickly. But this is the benefit. This is the benefit of fasting. This is the power of fasting. This is what happens when we fast. This is all happening in our mind, all happening in our bodies. And our goal is to make this a process that we continually work on, continue to improve on, continue to get the benefits from. Okay? So we're going to do one thing here really quickly. Give me a chance. I got to make a change to my camera. Be right back. All right, there you go. I love it. Okay, so fasting is increasing the BDNF. Okay, so we're seeing the moods, we're seeing the intelligence, we're seeing the emotional balance. You're literally lighting up your brain. So let's zoom out a little bit. So this fast is not about deprivation, it's about distinction. Remember, fasting is a voluntary abstention from whatever it is, in this case, for calorie-containing food. It helps you separate hunger from habit, urges from truth, cravings from what you want to do, and your calling for who you say you are. And now you get to ask, who am I without the food talking for me? You're discovering that you are stronger than the urge. You are deeper than the cravings. And you are wiser than the moment. You are not becoming someone new. You are remembering who you are. And that is the most powerful form of transformation. Because built into us is unlimited potential. The potential that we have the power to make decisions that improve our health, that improve our metabolism, and sets us up for long-term benefit and long-term success. So now you've seen what happens when fasting reaches the deep end. You felt it, not just in your body, but in your mind. You faced cravings, but also you've confronted patterns. You've denied food, but uncovered truth. Fasting is this level that shows you who you've become. But more importantly, it opens the door to who you are becoming. And that shift, from coping to clarity, from reaction to reflection, is the foundation of the fasting transformation and the power of limitless living. So here's your invitation tonight. What's the thing that has surfaced during your fast that surprised you? Ask that question. Then ask, what part of that do I want to keep? And what part do I want to get rid of? You're not just fasting for your body, you're fasting for your identity. At 56 hours, it's no longer just about what you're eating, it's about what you're finally hearing. Because our bodies are talking to us. Our mind is talking to us. This is not the end of your fast when we get there. This is the beginning of your mental freedom. And that, my friends, is limitless living. We'll continue talking about limitless living as we move throughout our journey together in improving our metabolism and getting the right process in place so that we can be successful. Keep listening, and we will keep talking about limitless living. All right, all right. So there are several of you that are out there that have joined us in the fast. Several of you who are thinking about fasting and you've not jumped in yet, but you're kind of circling and you're trying to get some information about this fasting thing. Fasting is an amazing process that allows us to correct our metabolism. There are 3 pillars that we talk about when it comes to reversing diabetes: decreasing insulin, suppressing the appetite, and reducing sugar. Fasting hits all of those. Fasting helps our metabolism get right because it improves our insulin resistance. Fasting helps us with our diabetes because it lowers our blood sugar. Fasting helps us with our high blood pressure because when the insulin goes down, it stops causing the vessels to be so tight and so rigid, and so our blood pressure can go down. Fasting helps regulate our cholesterol because the body does no longer has to take all of that and ship it off with the use of insulin, and so our cholesterol goes down. It's not storing it in the fat cells, so our weight goes down. It's not storing it in the liver, so our fatty liver goes down. It decreases our inflammation. It decreases the autoimmune responses that are going in the body. It has the autophagy, so our chances of some cancers go down. When we improve all of that, our risk factors for coronary artery disease, heart attacks, strokes, and peripheral vascular disease, all of that goes down. So fasting is amazing. And as we walk together in this deep path together, we want to encourage you. If you've not jumped in yet, you want to make sure you jump in. If you're thinking about it, come on, let's do it. If you fasted with me on Tuesday to Wednesday, hey, kudos to you, congratulations. Those of you who started yesterday into today, great job. You ended the fast at 24 hours. And those of you who are currently fasting, going into the 3rd leg of this, man, come on, let's do it together. And of course, if you're doing a complete 72-hour fast, my hat's off to you as well. If you did the first 1 day, put a 1. If you did the 2nd day, put 2. If you did the 3rd day, put 3 in the comments. And of course, if you're doing a total fast, put a T for total. If you're still fasting, stay curious. If you've broken your fast, reflect deeply. What did I learn? Because either way, the real breakthrough is internal. We love the fact that we're getting health benefits, but we also love what's going on in here. And the good news is, the mental strength that you're building now, it stays with you long after the fast is over. So keep going, keep listening, and keep living limitlessly. That's what we're doing as we go through each day. I want to say that everything that we do is based on our Triple E formula for success. We educate, we empower, and we encourage in this space. We educate with the plot, with the blogs, with the shows, with the podcasts. All of that is with the intention of changing our mindset, helping you learn how your body works, helping you know the things that are going on as you are applying the tools, helping you to understand that you can be better, bigger, you can be more than you are right now. You have a growth mindset and not a fixed mindset. It says that I am resilient and I can be better. I'm learning the things I need to learn. I'm learning the things I need to do so that I can be metabolically better. We educate, we empower in all the tools that we have. Fasting, the Limitless Living Health Action Plan, the HEAT model, the COPE model, the 100-day walk to consistency and health that we did in our series, the strength, strategy, and mindset that we're going through right now. We're on day 63, 64 in that series. Take advantage of the tools. The tools are there to help you apply the things you're learning. And of course, we cannot do any of that without community. Community is so important. We did our community meetup for this month just a couple of hours ago, and it was an amazing way for us to come alongside and learn more and support each other. Amazing. We educate, we empower, and we encourage. And so my encouragement to you is that when you are getting the benefits, share that with the community. Come on and drop in the comments. Say, hey, man, like you see, somebody said that the ketones, what their ketones were, what weight management they're getting, how blood sugars are better. They're off of medications. One of our community members said a while ago that they're at the weight. They're at the weight now that was their high school weight, and they have not been there for years. Share the successes. The community gets to support you as you are excited about the successes, and the community gets to support you when things may be a little rocky, when you need somebody to lean on, somebody to push you, somebody to carry you, somebody to let you cry on their shoulders. The community is there for that. And because you are living a limitless life, Limitless Living says that you cannot have benefit. You cannot improve. You cannot go along this journey without bringing somebody along with you. Because we educate, we empower, and we encourage, and encouragement has to do with community. So as you get better, then the community around you gets better. And when that gets better, the larger community gets better, and it grows and grows and grows, and we are affecting our world because we are living limitless lives. Yeah. All right. And I see some of our community members that are still out there. Let me go ahead and we're going to hop over and say hello to them. Let's pop over here. Let's see. What do we got? So we started with Cornelius that was saying hi. And let's scroll down. Gian says, I mostly trigger by spouse, by mom, by papa, by daughter, but they didn't trigger me. I noticed my point of view is triggering me, right? So my point of view, that's right. So very good, Gian. What she's saying is that the lenses through which she looks at the world has a direct effect on how the things around her are triggering her. Okay. Cornelia says, wow, Gian, that's how you take back your power. That's right. We take back our power by changing our perspective. Gian said, thank you, sis. You know me. Cornelia says, T and counting down. So Cornelia's she's going the distance, 72 hours. Come on, Cornelia. I love it. Gian says, happy year, happy 4th. Okay, yeah, happy your 4th. And Gian says almost there, right? So just enjoying. And so I do 4, but actually I should do a T, right? So 1, 2, 3, and a T. Almost there. Cornelia says, have a good night, everyone. Thank you, doctor. He says, get some rest. Have you decided what you will eat to break the fast? I have not. Does anybody have any suggestions? Come on. Cornelia says, thank you. I am, okay, Julian says she's doing 1 meal a day. 1 meal a day. Good. Cornelia, okay, so she's happy. She's smiling. Says, thank you, doc. Thank you. And Gion says, great, sis. Awesome. All right. So 1 meal a day. 1 meal a day for OMAD, for those of you who are out there, it's 1 meal a day. All right. Well, I am excited. I'm excited. You know why I'm excited? I'm excited because of the benefits that the community is getting, for the growth, for the improvement in metabolism, and for the fact that you have now made a decision that you are going to do what you need to do for your health. Let's just say that again. The first benefit of this space is that you're making the decision that you're going to be healthy, and you are going to do whatever it takes to be healthy. That's what Limitless Living says. I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're walking along with us. Our Limitless Living Health Action Plan has the word action in there because the plan is great. But when you infuse it with the power of your behavior, it comes to life and the possibilities become endless. So I encourage you to walk along with us. Tomorrow we'll be back as we do our check-in to break the fast at 72 hours. And you'll get to see what I'm going to eat to break the fast. My very first meal after 72 hours. Saturday night, we'll do this video from the vault at 9 p.m. Central. And then on Sunday morning, This Week in Review at 6 a.m. Central. And then on Monday of next week, we'll be back in the saddle as we continue working through our metabolism and walking through the Limitless Living lifestyle. Right here on Dwain Woode MD at 7 p.m. So good night, everybody. Thank you for stopping by. Have a great one. We are creating the life we've always wanted. I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your life and your health. Avoid complications and go to the next level, creating that life. And we're living limitless lives, which says that we're not allowing anything from outside or anything from inside to prevent us from doing what we need to do. We're showing up with our best selves, our best health, and the best plans for our life. We're breaking through the boundaries, pushing through the obstacles, and getting out of those restraints, and we're going to be successful. So go live a limitless life, and we'll see you at the next episode. Good night.